So what's good, guys? I appreciate every single one of you guys for hopping on board on here, right? It is 6:40 p.m. Pacific time. I know if you guys are on the East Coast, it is right around, like, let's say 9:40 EST time. So yeah, most people, like I said, on Tuesday night, especially the day after Labor Day, it's one of the biggest days because people on Tuesday are grinding, we're working, we're out there putting in a massive amount of work and stuff like that. And I wanted to really go in depth this marketing training call and kind of talk about certain things that I learned of as a leader, certain things that I did when I first got started in this entire business. And by default, this entire thing, if you guys follow these steps properly, will propel your entire business to the next level. Some of the guys that do or do not know me on here, my name is John Guam, and I'm a chairman 25 within the company. I've been involved in this industry now for over the last 2.5, 3 years. And a lot of it in the beginning was kind of more or less trial and error, just because I didn't necessarily have mentorship. But now what we're going to talk about today is something that I learned from a personal mentor and also learned from other different types of mentors. And we'll go in depth into leadership development, leadership training, being able to go out there and also delegate certain things, and also being able to also stay in phase one. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys here on this call on like what it takes to hit that $5,000 a month, chairman 10 level, that six-figure income level. And with a company like iMortgage Live, you guys have the ability and the opportunity to achieve that sort of income at such, like, let's say half the effort than you would traditionally with other network marketing companies. So I'm excited. I'm really hyped out about this call. And I want to actually start. Yeah, we'll start this entire thing off. So let's talk about it right now, guys. So make sure you guys please have notes. Like I said, note takers are money makers, and notes are a visual representation of all the hard work that you've put in, right? Anytime, understand, guys, the human mind can only retain about 7% of information, right? The things that it writes down, it will retain about 13%. You have to learn and then review everything that you guys do right now. So learn, apply, and teach. Okay, that's what I like to talk about. You guys can write that down. Learn, apply, teach. The way you will retain about 70% of all information in the brain is by learning it, then applying it into your business, and then teaching it. The moment you guys can come up here and start teaching it to a group of people, right, is the moment you're going to be able to go out there and start making a massive amount of income. So we'll get this whole thing started off the rip and get this thing going, right? So let's talk about the 6 steps of building. Okay, so number one, let's say tomorrow I lost my entire business. So right now in my team, I have about, biggest I think it's ever been was 4,200 people. So when I first started, I started at zero, right? We all start at zero. We all start at zero, right? We all start at P0. We all start as a customer. Okay. So let's think about it like this real quick. If I were to start my network marketing business tomorrow, how would I lead about it? What I would do is I would follow this 6-step system. And number one is, let's say the moment I enroll somebody and bring them in, is you need to have some sort of training or some sort of fast start training to bring them in and get them involved in the business. So number one, when I'm getting them involved with the 6-step system of building, the first thing I would do is have them go through a fast start training. What someone does their first 48 to 72 hours will dictate what they will do the next 3 to 6 to even 9 months in this entire business. Right? The pace of the leader is the pace of the pack, dude. If you're out there working, you're out there grinding, you're out there taking this business seriously and presenting it to them in the beginning, as serious as that, as a multi-million-dollar profession, that's how people are going to reflect their work ethic towards you. Okay. If you have people that are slacking in the business, if you have people right now that aren't running around with their heads cut off, it's due to your lack of being able to go out there and bring the professionalism to the business, number one, bring the urgency to the business, number two. And number three, the biggest reason why is because you haven't trained them properly. Any person that ever goes into a new job is trained. Okay. Any busser that's bussing tables is trained. Any person that's working retail is trained. Any person that goes into McDonald's, dude, and fucking flips burgers is trained. So if you're not training your people from the rip and from the get-go, you're literally throwing things on the wall, hoping that it sticks. Right. And building a business like that is meant to collapse. So understand this real quick, right? If you're building like that, you need to understand, okay, cool. Let's get somebody in and let's train them as most effectively as possible. That way they can go out there and become productive if they're going out here to become a great customer or become a great business builder. Okay. So like I said, you don't want to be leading in a sloppy manner. A sloppy business itself will kind of crumble your business. So I like to have a fast start training. My fast start training is an 8-step system. Right? I'm not going to go over too much of the fast start training in general, right? But it's very simple, right? 8-step system, right? Number one, set up your services. Number two, get them plugged in to the system. Number three is the why, the who, and the commitment. Number four is the goals. Number five is the list. Okay, number six is mastering the invite. Number seven, master our system. Number eight, personal development. Why I say this, guys, is because this is simple. Okay, we try to overload people with too much stuff and overcomplicating it, right? No one ever got something great out of overcomplicating anything, right? Simple is always better, and it works. And not just that, dude, if you can't have people master the basics, something as simple as inviting, then they'll never be able to master the nuanced fundamentals in this business. They'll never be able to go out there and develop a leader. They'll never be able to go out there and actually go in depth and try to build deep in the business, go out there and speak, okay? We need to focus on people mastering this stuff first and then going out there. Luckily, I actually created a whole video setup for this entire thing. So if you guys go on my YouTube channel, right, on my YouTube, I actually have this entire 8-step system already all written out. So the 8-step system, very, very simple, right? Have it on here. You guys can kind of check it out, right? It's just me essentially going over the entire Fast Start training. And I have a couple other bunch of trainings there as well, right? From number one, setting up your services, all the way to number 8, which is personal development. And the last final step is the chairman checklist, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later today, right? So understand that's what I would introduce. If I got let's say my friend name is, let's say I'm trying to talk to Frank. I see Frank on here. Let's say I'm trying to build my entire business to a 6-figure income level as chairman again. Okay, so I get Frank involved in the business. I get him through a Fast Start training and I launch him properly the first 48 to 72 hours. Okay, the moment I'm doing that, now I'm under operation. I know what it is that I'm doing, right? I have him go through this entire thing. I set up a schedule for his training. I have him with the why, the who, the goals, etc. Now, number 2, I want to figure out, let's say if I'm looking to build, this is strictly for building. Okay. So what I might do, if you guys are customers here, this might offend you. If you're not a customer, it doesn't matter. Okay. This is strictly for building. Number 2, after I've done that, what I want to do the next 48 hours is I want to check how serious the person is. So I will tell Frank, write a list of 100 people, offline and online. I would have Frank write a list of 100 people offline and online. And I'm going to ask Frank, how serious is he of that why, or how serious is he of his goals? And I would have him write this list within the next 24 to 48 hours. No excuses. Okay. So understand, the next 24 to 48 hours, I would have him write this list. Okay. And at that point in time, I would build that up. So let's talk about this. If Frank in 48 hours doesn't write his entire list online and offline, I'd go back to Frank and say, Frank, what the fuck, dude? Like, how serious are you of your goals? Because understand, my time is super busy, right? And I could be talking to somebody else about it, or I could be wasting with somebody else. So are you serious about building this entire, are you serious about your why? Are you serious about, your goals? Are you serious about everything that it is that we were talking about? And Frank is almost going to feel like he's offended you. Right. So because Frank doesn't want to feel like he's offended you and he's getting that snapped into place, he's realizing that this is actually an actual business, and he's going to take it a lot more serious. Now, if Frank does do it within that 48-hour span, it tells me Frank is a serious person and that he's ready to take his life to the next level. Right. Most people, you guys got to understand, 99% of the world lives in comfortability. So most people aren't going to get it done the first 48 hours. I tell most people, okay, cool. You get it done one time. Okay. If I see that person, I give him one chance. If he doesn't do it, create the list. And then the second time, if he doesn't create the list, I stop working with him. Okay. Just because for me, it would be a waste of my time. Right. So this is an easy way to kind of delegate who you want to build and who you want to actually go out there and just kind of trade and kind of slowly build. This is an aggressive build. I'm talking to you guys. If you guys are willing to dedicate 2 to 3 months of your life, 2 to 3 days, 2 to 3 hours a day of your life, for about 2 to 3 months, you could go out there and create almost a $5,000 a month residual income based off of this. So this is a training that I got from another chairman. Now, I'll figure out how serious the person is. If he's super serious, if he's all in, I would rather have 4 people that are all in and super hungry than 10 people or 20 people, 10 people that are part-time. And the reason I say this is because these are people that are all in. They're going to follow the trainings. They're going to show up to the events. They're going to also invest the time and effort and whatever it takes to go out there and to create the customer basis, right? Those are going to be my foundation group. And I'm going to talk about the 4 steps of build, the 4 phases of building right after this. Okay. So once I do that, okay, I would have him create a list, right? Online and offline. And I would set up, number 3, set up dates for a webinar and for a home event. Okay, because when we're going to invite these people, we're going to teach them the proper invite. I have 2 invitation videos. Okay, so I have one with Matt Rosa and Austin Gozzi that I like to market, and the second one that I have where I ask for people's opinion. You guys can check that out on my YouTube, but that should be introduced to people in the Fast Start training. Now, details on this. When we're inviting people to a webinar and a home event, we never have people, okay, inviting. We never do the calls for people, right? Maybe I'll talk to Frank. I'll let Frank know how it's done, but I'll have Frank practice, and I'll have Frank practice phone mastery, okay? Why I'm saying that is just because, understand this, if you do the work for somebody else and they're getting compensated for it, they'll always take you for granted, right? And if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach a man how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice with Frank on the phone. Okay, Frank, let's practice your inviting strategy. Let's practice the way that you're properly piquing interest, how you're sharing the opportunity, and how you're leveraging a 3-way call after you share the opportunity with somebody. So we'll set up dates for a webinar and a home event, okay? So we set up dates for a webinar and a home event. So the home event is going to be for his online list, which has 50 people. I mean, his offline list, which has 50 people. Okay, 50 people on a list, guys, is not difficult. And people, we're not going to invite him to a hotel. We're not going to invite him to this place. We're not going to invite him to Sally's place. We're going to launch Frank at his house, at his place. Why I'm saying this is because Frank's friends are not comfortable with going to Sally's house. Frank's friends are not comfortable with going at a hotel event. Frank's friends are comfortable with going to Frank's place because they know Frank, okay? So they're going to come to his house, all right? That's how you're going to launch him, at his own place, at his own home, okay? If not his own home, somebody else, maybe his home is too small, somewhere else. We're going to look for a place, but we have to launch it where it's Frank's event, and Frank is going to be speaking at that event, doing the introduction, and I will do services, and I will also close, right? This is how I would do the event, okay? Next thing, webinar, okay? Now we have that week when I'm launching Frank, because he has his list at 48 hours. We're going to invite for that following week or the next following week, right? The home event. So let's say if I'm starting Frank right now, I'm launching Frank in the beginning of the month. Okay. This is the beginning of the month. I'm launching Frank. I got him involved in the second. We literally got his list done today. We're inviting everybody for next week on Monday. Okay. We're inviting as many people as possible. That gives us one whole week of promotion, right? The art of promoting is the most valuable skill set in the entire world. So what we'll do is, okay, cool. Online, we have our online list. We'll throw our webinar on Tuesday for people that we have out of country and for people that can't make it on Monday. So after we start inviting for people on Monday, some people are going to say that they can or cannot make it. Those people, we follow up with them and we let them know that there's a webinar going on Tuesday. And that's going to be Frank's webinar. It's not going to be Frank and freaking George's webinar. It's not going to be a whole opportunity webinar for a bunch of people. It's going to be Frank's very own webinar. And the reason I'm doing this and the reason we do this is because we're holding Frank accountable of being able to go out there and lead and also pack out the room, number one, and also pack out the webinar, number two. So we fully tap into his entire list. Okay, most people, if you tell 5 people to go out there and they pack out a room together, some might bring like one, another one might bring 5, another one might bring 2. But if you fully launch them all together, all of them completely, all 100% fully tap rooting into their list will bring 10 to 20 to sometimes 15 people all together. So why waste that time when you could work with everybody individually a little bit and then have one massive webinar or one massive event once a week, right, in your local area? That's how you build this entire business, okay? Quality over quantity. I like the quality over quantity approach. Yes, that is good. Quality over quantity. But understand, guys, it's not bad to bring in low quality people once in a while because they'll connect you to a high quality person when you tap it in their list. You can turn a low quality person into a high quality person. Aces aren't always found in the business, they're built, dude. Okay, I was a low quality person when I built this business. I came in for 6 months, did not do shit, okay? But after, when my mind got developed, it took almost a year in another network marketing company. After that, I started working. So this is how we're gonna build. And at that point in time, once we set up dates for his webinar and his home event, we're going to make sure that Frank is speaking at every single one of these events. Okay, we're gonna make sure that he's doing the introduction and he's also doing the introduction on the webinar. Once we get Frank, let's say we invite 50 people to the event, we're gonna teach Frank, okay, cool. Let's say out of 50 people, we hit up 30 and 30 say they're potentially going to come. Okay, so now the fourth step, we have just set up Frank's webinar and his home event that we're going to promote for all week. Okay, and you know what's crazy is if you're launching more than one person, you could do this with other people as well. So let's say I'm working with Frank and I'm working with George, and George, I have his home event on Tuesday and his webinar on Wednesday. And this is how when you have multiple different events going on every single day, right? You don't need a whole big fucking team to do this. You don't need 40 people on your team. All you need is to taproot into 3 people and take that 3 people into a stud, right? This is how simple networking is, right? So once you do that, okay, cool. We set up dates for a webinar and his home event. Now we teach Frank about the law of averages, okay? Because we don't want Frank to get discouraged if he sees the event and there's not that many people there. We teach Frank about the law of averages, okay? In basic sales training, in any type of training in general, they always teach you about the law of averages. So let me talk about the law of averages real quick. Let's say I invite 30 people to an event, okay? We taproot Frank's list for a home event. We invite 30 people to this event. I do it with him, okay? This is the key. You can't tell people to go out there and invite by themselves because they won't fucking do it, dude. Okay, if your person is online, get online with that person, call him up and literally tell him and show him how to properly invite. Okay, you have to be with him in person or online through a webinar because people will not go out there and do it. Most people lack the discipline, right? Number one, and number two, most people won't do it because, dude, they're gonna feel uncomfortable. 99% of the world lives in a comfortable state. So you have to force that uncomfortability. How did I get good at speaking? Dude, my fucking mentor threw me into the corner of a room and was like, listen, dude, you're fucking speaking today. Like, and I needed that tough love. Like, listen, bro, are you a pussy or are you like, for like, not to offend anybody, but straight up, like, dude, are you a pussy? Are you going to actually go out there? I'm like, no, I'll do it. And I did it. I conquered that fear, right? Under pressure, that's where diamonds are created, right? So you have to put people under pressure, right? Because if you don't, you will fail them as a mentor. You will fail them as a mentor. I tell people all the time, listen, if I don't add this pressure, if I don't let you do this, if I don't let you figure it out yourself, dude, I would fail you as a mentor, right? So let's go back into it. I teach them the law of averages. Let's say we invite 30 people into the business. All right, cool. We got 30 people coming to Frank's home event. Out of 30 people, 2/3 will actually show up, depending on how good the relationship Frank has with those people, number one, and number two, how well he piqued interest and invited to the event, okay? So 20 people show up to his event. It might be more, it might be a little bit less, but on average, I've noticed that 20 people will show up if it's Frank's good friends out of that third circle, right? Guys, can you stop writing on it real quick or I'll kind of kick out the people that are writing on it because I can actually see who's writing on it and I'll kick you guys out. Okay, cool. You guys don't want to get kicked out. Cool. Sick. All right, so out of these 20 people will show up. Out of these 20 people, 10 people, one fifth will get started. Okay, so out of the 30 people invited, 20 will show up, 10 will get started. Okay, so 1 out of the 30, actually 1 out of 3 that are invited to the event will get started. This is your numbers are super, super good. Some of them might get started, a little bit more might get started, a little bit less might get started, but these are average numbers. Okay, so out of 30 people invited, 20 will show up, 10 will get started. Okay, out of these 10, this is how I'm gonna show you guys how to find your ace. This is what you teach to your average person, okay? The law of averages. So out of these 10 people, 3 will do absolutely nothing or will be customers, okay? And it's okay, okay? People that don't do anything, it's okay. People like that come and go, but they can connect you to another person, number one, right? 3 will stay as customers. And that is good, right? Because here we have to build a customer basis, right? We have to be able to have a 55% customer to affiliate ratio. We have to have people trading. So it's okay if we keep that customer basis there, because think about it like this real quick. A customer that stays in the business for more than 6 months on average will go out there after 6 months and start building the entire business. So we want customers in our business. We want traders. Most customers turn into builders because they turn into great fucking traders, dude. They just showcase the results, right? The next 3, okay, so now we have 7 left. Okay, we have 7 people left. The next 3 will want to do good, but for some odd reason, for some unfortunate reasons, will not be able to do good. So why I'm saying this is because the next 3 will, like, let's say something, it's misunfortunate events. Like, it's not the right time for them. Let's say a family death happened. Let's say they're working super hard. They're like in college, or there's some crazy but actual meaningful excuse for them not to do absolutely amazing in this thing. So those 3 will try to do good, but they will still show up to a couple of events here and there. They'll still want to be part of the culture and still like be half-assed with it. You know what I'm saying? So now you have 4 left. Okay, so now you have 4 people left in your business. Okay, out of these 4, these 3 will be sub-leaders. Okay, these guys will have the most amount of potential, right? The next 3, these 3 will be sub-leaders. Those 3 will have the most amount of potential. Now you have 4 left. 3 out of those 4 will be sub-leaders. People that have the most amount of potential, people that will show up to the events, they will show up to all the trainings. They will go out there, and if these people are very well developed, if you develop and invest enough time into them, they can turn into aces. They're still natural influencers. They're someone that can go out there and at one point in time, you can depend on them. What is a leader? Somebody that can convey the message to the masses properly, but can also be depended on. And the last and final person out of this 1 out of 10 group is going to be your ace. That ace is going to be a natural influencer. People listen to him, dude. No matter what he does, people listen to him, right? He solves problems easily, okay? He goes out. This is the type of person, that ace is the type of person that hits P600 his first week or his first 3 days, right? That guy that hits Chairman 10 in 5-6 months, right? Aces in your business. Jason Brown, Matt Rosa, right? Austin Ghazi, right? Some people that are aces, right? Brandon Boyd, absolute ace. David Amitier, absolute ace. So aces aren't always found. They're built up. But number 2, they are found. They could be found anywhere in the entire world, right? You could be you could be passing by an ace right now. The average person walks around or walks by 7 different strangers every single day. Imagine what those strangers are and what they do. So I teach every single one of my newest guys this, the law of averages. Network marketing is just a numbers game. Bill Gates said it best. Bill Gates showed the plan to over, I think it was 1,500 people. Out of those 1,500 people, he said that 800 of them said yes. Out of those, 500 said yes. Out of those 500, I think 200 were actually serious, right? 86 made 6 figures. And then out of those 86, 11 of them became millionaires, and those 11 helped him become a billionaire. Okay. That is what this industry is. It's no different than that. So I teach people the law of averages so that they just don't get discouraged. So if I understand, okay, cool. Out of 30 people, if it takes 30 people for me to find an ace, 10 of them to get involved, you guys can see 1 out of 10 people in your business will be an ace. And you can find out who that 1 out of 10 person is. And that's the person that you want to work with them, right? And the sub leaders below them. So that's number 4. Okay. Number 5 is show him and her how to structure. Okay. Structure is absolutely everything. Okay. If you guys do or do not know how to structure, what if money is a problem? What if they're doing money problems? That's counter objections, dude. It's never a money problem. It's a motivational issue. It's never a money issue. It's a motivational issue. Right. So now I'm going to talk to you guys. I'm going to actually draw on here, right? Sketchpad. And I'm going to show you guys how to structure your business. Okay. So I actually did it on here. Let me see if I can clear this out. Can I clear this out? Cool. I don't know if I can. If I can't, cool. If I can, okay. So let's draw on here. Okay, cool. So let's say I'm building the business from scratch, and we'll use Frank as an example. This is me right here. Okay, this is my account, my IML account. And I recruited, let's say, my friend Jackie over here. Frank's right here on this leg, right? This is Frank. And then this is like George. So I have 3 legs, probably like all the builders that are on this call right now, right? 3 legs. How am I going to structure my business out? Let's say, okay, cool. I have Frank here and I'm going to build depth in my business. I'm never going to go build sideways in my business. So let's say I recruit 3 personal customers to the business and I have another personal customer that's interested. I'm going to place, and that person's name is, let's say, Chris. I'm going to place Chris underneath Frank, directly underneath Frank. Now, why I'm going to do that is because I want to build down. Let's say through Chris refers somebody else that I know as well, and I help them close out, and I get another person involved, and that person's name is Amy. So I'm going to place Amy underneath Chris, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to build depth in my vision, my business, never sideways. Okay, understand, guys, people won't appreciate things that you build for them. People never appreciate the things that you give them. They always appreciate the things that they work hard for, naturally, just by nature, right? So think of it like this real quick. If I go out there and personally recruit Amy, right, I would tell Amy, okay, cool. Amy would go underneath. Amy would have support from me, number one. She would have support from Chris, who's her upline, and she would also have support from George, and then also have support from Frank. So you see what I'm saying? So she would have support from Chris, from Frank, and also from me. And now this gives the opportunity to Frank to go out there and just build 2 legs. I tell Frank, listen, Frank, all you got to worry about is 2 legs, dude. Amy goes out there. She personally refers one person. I go launch Amy. Now, Amy has this other dude named, let's say, Amy has Amelia, right? So now there's Amelia, there's Amy, and then there's Chris, and then there's Frank. Frank has 1 leg set for P600. I call Frank up one day. Let's say Frank is just a customer, and I get him to launch. I tell him, Frank, listen, dude, because you've been at the right place at the right time, all you have to do is add 8 customers to this entire business. You've already had the trading results since you've just been waiting the last 2 months. 8 customers to this business, you're making $600 a month, dude. And then if you go out there and you can duplicate that, we can get you to $1,000 a month the following month after that, because it's building. And now because of that, Chris sees volume under him. All he has to do is build 2 legs sideways, and so on and so on. I've built my business like this for years, dude. And I delegate it. So it's like I have to personally recruit. I can't just rely on my team to build my business. You cannot rely. The people that got you to where you are today, if you're a P600 right now, the people that got you to P600 will not get you to P1000. The people that got you to P1000, P2000 will not get you to P5000. The people that got you to P5000 right now, or even P2000, will never get you to chairman. You need to always be looking for new blood. You need to spend 30 to 40% of your time, right, working with new people. You need to go out there. Yes, you train your old guys, you invest them, you mentor in them, and then you let them fly for a little bit. You give them the right trainings, you let them work, you let them mentor you, you let them shadow you, and then you look for newer blood to work with. You look for the next P600s, the next P1000s, so you can dump volume under them. And they see that. And what does that do? It incentivizes them to go out there and build. So that is what I like to do. I would show my whoever I'm talking to how to properly structure the entire business. Okay, guys, can you stop writing on it? Like I said, because if you keep writing on it, I know who you are. I'm going to kick you out of the entire group. All right, I'm going to kick you out because I'm just done with this. Okay, sick. Just kick them out. All right, cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to showcase to you guys essentially the last and final step of this entire thing. And that step is, right, staying organized and having them schedule out events. Okay, so staying organized, guys, right? Understand that an unorganized entrepreneur is not an entrepreneur at all. You have to stay very, very consistent and very organized. So what I do is I have like a schedule, dude. Like for me, like when I have calls, like let's say on Labor Day, I had calls and I schedule them out and I get alerted on my Apple calendar when I have these calls and when I don't have these calls. Teach your people how to stay organized and how to schedule out events. 5 M's of network marketing, every day a different location. Let's say if I were to build from scratch today and I had to build to a 6-figure income in 6 months, I'd be able to do it because I did it before again, right? And this is how we do it. Let's do it. Let's run it. How would I do it? Okay, cool. So let's say I personally referred 3 customers. I'm still staying in phase 1 and they're going out there and building. So let's look at the week. All right, let's say I'm starting on Monday. I have Frank's event on Monday. Now, another person I personally enrolled was George. I would have George's webinar and his event on Tuesday. And let's say George is not in, let's say Connecticut, because I know Connecticut town's a lot better. Let's say Danbury, Connecticut is like Western Connecticut. I would have, let's say for Frank on Monday. On Tuesday, I would have George's event, which is Eastern Connecticut. So I would travel to both events on Monday and Tuesday to go launch those markets. And then Wednesday, let's say I have another person I enrolled, Amy. I would go to Amy, who's in Southern Connecticut, and I would travel to Amy to go launch her event at her place on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I would go out there and travel to Northern Connecticut to go launch my other friend that I just got started, Chris, and I would launch him on Thursday. And then on Friday, I would have one massive Connecticut event in the middle of Connecticut so all the teams can come together and go out there and work together. And then let's say on the weekends, on let's say Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would have a trading training in person or online. That's how I would build the business. And I would do this for months. And if you build it, the people will come. If you're consistent, dude, the fucking people will come. If you're following the right type of training in the system, the people will come. And now I'm going to teach you guys the 4 phases of building your empire. And this is essentially how you do it. But you have to make sure that you're delegating it to the right type of person. You have to make sure that you have a proper foundation. Okay, you have to make sure that you're working with very serious people, because people that don't respect your time, right? Time is the most valuable commodity in the entire world. So you want to make sure that people are respecting it. You see what I'm saying? So now I'm going to share with you guys a little bit about kind of what I have come across when I'm building this entire business and certain things that'll help you get to the next level, right? Obviously, your business will come in certain different seasons. You'll have winters in your business. You'll have springs in your business. You'll have fall, summer, right? In the fall, we reap our harvest. In the winter, right? This is when the tough times are coming in. People are falling off, but it's good, right? Because things tend to die. The people that were just not necessarily serious tend to go away. But after the winter is always what? The spring, right? The spring is a season of growth, right? After the spring comes the summer, then the fall, right? So let's talk a little bit about the 4 phases of building your empire for just a little bit, because this is like what I talked about, this structure right here. If you do this right here properly in every personal recruitment that you launch properly, you can build to P5K in 5 to 6 months, just following this type of system, right? Having the person there and launching them within the first 48 to 72 hours. Now, if people want to stay customers, that's cool. But you figure out a day, okay, cool, we can get you as a customer and launch you later. Figure out a day and time that they get the results and launch them as a business owner. Okay, because if someone's saying, John, I want to go all in with marketing, that's exactly the steps in the system that I would do and that I would follow to help them get to the next level. And then for my organization, I would figure out, okay, cool, how would I figure out my organization? How would I be able to distinguish where I am in my organization and what I need to do? So I built this when I first got started in the entire industry. 4 phases of building your empire. Some of you guys know this training. Some of you guys don't know this training. Okay. So for the people that do not know this training, it's cool. For the people that do know this training, it's cool, because you can kind of identify where you are with this entire business, right? So what you want to do is, in the beginning, you always are at the foundational phase. You're at the development phase. This guy, who put that shit? So I'm just going to tell you guys it, because obviously people cannot be trusted with this thing. So real quick. Okay, cool. So you're going to be in 4 different phases, right? Number 1 is going to be the foundational phase. So that foundational phase itself is going to offer you guys, this is where you have your 1 to 5 people in your business, right? These people themselves are people, like I said, that are going to go all in. These are the people that you're going to tap. These are the people that you're going to go out there and run the events Monday, one event Monday, the other one on a Tuesday, the other one on a Wednesday, the other one on a Thursday. Okay. This is the technical aspect of this entire business. At that point in time, once you tap through these people, you'll come to the second step, right? But understand how powerful the foundation is, because everything rises and falls off of the foundation, right? Understand if there's a problem in the foundation, you can only build as high as deep as the foundation is. The Empire State Building's foundation is deeper than how high the Empire State Building is. And the reason because of that is because the foundation holds together the entire building. So once you tap through that building, you come to the second step of the 4 phases of building, right? Number 1 is foundation. Number 2 is your culture. Okay. This is where you've been able to taproot through people's lists and build a team of anywhere from 15 to 30 people on your team. 15 to 30 people on your team. You're in the culture phase of your business. Now, what is culture, guys? Do it for the culture. All right, cool. So I'm going to talk a little bit about culture. Understand, guys, culture itself, you need to create something that is super attractive to people. Why do you think people join gangs, fraternities, sororities, even like other different things in business or in just in life in general, other different types of groups or cults? It's because they all want to become a part of something. Create something that is so attractive to people. What I've created, or like what we've been able to create just over these last couple of months with certain groups, I'll notice certain people's cultures are going to be more family driven or family orientated. Other ones are more fun, a little bit more laughter in it. All right, understand that being able to create an amazing culture for your team will distinguish whether people will stay or not. I've had teams go out there and build a culture so good that just because the culture was so good, people would never quit. So create a family-driven culture. Create something people want to be a part of. All right. I've created with Life by Design the message behind it. That's what you want to build on, the message. To go out there, live a life of freedom, be able to get your life back, number 2. And number 3, have a lot of fun with it, man. If you're not having fun with it, you're not doing it right. So what we're going to talk about after the culture is it's followed by the 3 C's in network marketing. I call this culture, commitment, and consistency. You need to have culture, number 1. And number 2, you need to have commitment with people that are following the system properly. That way it's duplicating properly and they're going out there and they're being committed to a 90-day run, or they're being committed to putting in 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day or 30 minutes a day or talking to 3 people a day. 3 people a day for 3 years of your life will change your life. And then having their commitment. And number 2, having their consistency. Consistency is the 8th wonder of the world, dude. Every single day, if you're just consistent, man, you're gonna be rewarded by life, right? Like the penny that doubled every single day. Albert Einstein called consistency the 8th wonder of the world. So once you do that, when you have culture, commitment, consistency, momentum is created when there's a proper system with a great amount of speed. It's ridiculous, right? At that point in time, now you're at the momentum phase. This is going to take your team from 30 people to over 100 people. And at this point in time, it's your job to recognize who is launching who properly and who you can delegate to, who you could have speak at events, who you could have close at events, who you could have teach them the more nuanced fundamentals of this entire business model, who you could have around that time. If you're not there yet, it's okay. But when you're at 100 people in your business, you don't know everybody. And at that point in time, now you're trusting other people to go out there and make sure that they're training properly. So you need to offer value now at that point. You need to become a more valuable person. You need to be going out there and making sure that the people that you're investing into are also valuable and they're also following the right type of system and that they're leading properly. At this point in time, you're doing that while at 30% of your time at all times staying in phase 1, still going out there building relationships, still recruiting. And when you're building offline, you're spending a good amount of your time also building online. In order to be a very great networker or be a 6-figure networker or a 7-figure networker, honestly, I'll say 7 figures because I have people just build offline and make 6 figures. To be a 7-figure networker, you need to be versatile in both, building online and building offline, 100%. So at that point in time, once you're at the momentum phase, then you're at the movement phase. When you have a proper system, speed, and leadership delegation, and you let guys prime themselves and step up for themselves, at that point in time, you're at the next phase in your business, and that is the movement phase, where you have over 300 plus people or more. And at this point in time, it's your job, like I said, to invest back in your team, but stay into phase 1 and start looking for the newer guys that you're going to work with, and the newer guys that are going to be helping you run your entire business. So I talked about the 6 steps to building your empire. Number 1, number 2, the 4 phases of building your entire business, guys. So I appreciate every single one of you guys, but understand, guys, before we can build anything or even build our business, we must first build ourselves, and we must first build the people, and then the people will build our business, right? That's how you got to look at it at this point in time, guys. I appreciate every single one of you guys for having me on this call today. And if you guys got value for about all 90 plus people, go on my last Instagram post All right. My Instagram is John B. Guaman. All right. And type in a fire emoji. Right. I appreciate all y'all for all that. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great night. Peace.